G'day, and we're back. Me and Philip, of course, are back from a little vacation. Philip went to Wales to see his twin brother, Tom Jones. Mia went to a dungeon to see a little bit of Romero before he went off to Argentina. And I went seeking to find Stephen Kenny and kick him up the arse and kick him out of Ireland. What really happened was Philip didn't find nothing. Mia's still here and Stephen Kenny's still in charge of Ireland. But apart from
Romero's still in my basement. Romero's still in my basement, don't worry.
Yeah, look, there's no need to rub it in, Mia. Look, can we swap Romero for Stephen Kenny in your dungeon?
No, sorry, can't do that.
Oh dear. Right, Philip, we'll have plan B then. We'll have to put him into your makeshift dungeon then. You're on the... He's a professionalism here, Mia. It's ridiculous. Do you know he's
I'll
even
get the staff on this thing.
We can't hear you. Now he's scratching he's now putting his... We can't hear.
How come I didn't unmute like the rest of you? God, so hard to get staff these days. Anyway, as I was saying, my dungeon is full. As I was saying, and nobody listened to me. I have no dungeon here actually, but my brother-in-law does have a cow shed. You can borrow that.
Oh, good. Can we stick him in there? Might be, yeah, probably would be more suitable. Oh, God.
I'm not sure that he would like the move, though.
Yeah, I don't think the cattle might object to the company they're keeping.
Yeah, they might.
Might do. But anyway, good afternoon, everyone. Yes, we are back. Thfc is back, and we're back with a bang. Because we've got Mia with us, and we never know where the show's going to go when Mia joins us. It could go lovely. It could go into the SMM sort of side of things.
I don't know what you're trying to insinuate about me. I'm getting a bit like, excuse me.
It's the dungeon bit. It's the dungeon, you know.
I didn't make that. Joe, what? To be fair, I didn't mention a dungeon. Everyone made that up about me, so I just went along with it.
It was more about you leaving you around in a dog collar. That's the bit.
No. I didn't actually. I just suggested that. I didn't say that was a thing, did I?
You said it. It's on video somewhere.
You have to be very careful what you say at times, mate. It's inclined to follow you around for a while. Not right, Dermot?
Yeah, that's okay, Tom. Yeah, you sit there quite happily. Now, This is Philip now getting his own back on me. Before we welcome good afternoon to bring people in, Philip, I'm giving you the opportunity. I'm going to bring up the photo. Right, you know what I'm going to do. Where is it? Where's the photo? Right. Go on, Philip. This is the photo. Have your laugh. Go on.
Dermot had a few callers last night, at his door, knocking on the door. Now, they didn't have to kick it down, I don't think, anyway, right? But they wore blue uniforms with high-vis jackets over them. And they said, Dermot, it's a little matter of you committed mass murder 3 years ago. Did you forget about it? And anyway, Dermot had to appear in front of the judge this morning, and Dermot, he forgot to pass sentence on you, so he asked me to do it instead, right? And here's what he gave me to put on my head, right? You're to be taken from this place. You'll be taken from this place to a place of non-entertainment, and I hereby sentence you to watch Arsenal matches for the rest of your natural life. That's what he told me to tell you. And it's either that or a £20 fine. It's up to you, whichever one you want to go for.
I'll take the 20.
Now, revenge duly delivered. Now, seriously, I think it was it a parking ticket or a speeding fine?
It was a You are a fucker. I'm sorry. Mia, can you just take off?
Don't say he didn't deserve that now. You're mute.
How have I muted myself? It muted me. Afternoon all. Drag on these nuts. My children's absolute favourite name on YouTube. Trust me, every time I hear it, they still go. Large good days all. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, fellow Spurs fans. Hope you're all well and looking forward to a proper football on Saturday. Absolutely, I am. But to be honest with you, Wayne. And then we've got Daniel. Good afternoon. Big up, one love. Big up to Daniel as well in the chat.
I think he's back now.
Mass fucking murder. Mr. Brady,
yes.
could you not have thought of anything else but mass murder?
Well, I could
I
have
mean,
put
you
sheep
murder
worrying,
these
but I thought that might
shows.
sound worse, you know.
You murder these shows every time by actually ruining it.
There you go. We'll get rid of her.
Me is in the sin bin.
I'm not the unprofessional one, mate.
He puts you in the sin bin.
It works both ways, you know.
I forgot she actually has power to do this subdermic behavior stuff.
Oh,
but yeah,
lovely,
I tell you what, this show reminds me of, right? I don't know if you remember. You were too young, Mia. But do you remember Cracker Jack?
Oh yeah, Cracker Jack pencil
and Swap Shop on the Saturday morning. No, and Chris Tarrant, right? I was very small when Cracker Jack was on. I remember this is a bit like Cracker Jack on a Friday, but listen, big up.
I met Chris Tarrant, and he's not a very nice guy. Just saying.
All right. Okay. Oh. By the way, the last 5 minutes reminds me more of the Benny Hill show. But anyway.
Yeah, I was about to say Benny Hill when they said, was it my job? Yeah, I met him when me and my brother were kids. We went to go see Beauty and the Beast in London, and we went to go and get his autograph, and he was really rude and miserable.
Oh, nice.
Because he lost £1 million. That's what happened to him.
He wants to be a millionaire. He lost the job, didn't he?
Yeah, is your name Chris Tarrant? Yes, right. If everyone gets that, it was the cough. And the funny story behind it took him to 4 o'clock the following morning to work out the gene. But anyway, let's get on with this. Philip, we are back, and we are back after always a boring international week. Look, very, very quickly, I want to just go on about the Ireland thing. I will talk about Mia. We'll get Mia's reaction to England as well. More on the podcast. But for me, Philip, enough is enough. Stephen Kenny has to go. He has to go. He really does have to go. Very quickly, before we get on to Spurs and the squad's been named and all the Spurs news, Philip, he has to go. He cannot be left in that job any longer. It's just, I can't take it. I can't take
Dermot,
it.
With the announcement from the FAI this morning, you're going to have to, because they've confirmed he will be in charge until the end of the campaign. So you have another few matches to go yet to rant and rave about him. But I agree with you. He's not good enough for the job, but we don't have anybody else. We don't have the money to pay him off. So he's stuck with it. We're stuck with him until the end of the qualifying. Then he'll be gone. And then we'll probably a new other cycle. We'll probably bring in another guy who's completely unsuitable to the job. Because as far as I'm concerned, the FAI has been run by John Delaney, ran it better. And that's saying something.
Steve Bruce is actually favourite to take the Ireland job.
Oh, okay. Well,
Mia, very quickly. Yeah, could do. Mia, very quickly on England. Gareth Southgate, international break.
I'm bored as like talking about Gareth Southgate ball as I am you lot talking about bloody Ireland. If I'm completely honest, I don't want to talk about the internationals. It was rubbish, absolute rubbish. So.
Yeah, we've got Wayne. Wayne Bonnet says, never watched Swap Shop. I was a Tiswas fan. Remember Cracker Jack every Friday after school. Yeah. Was it? Was Cracker Jack 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock? I think it was 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock.
It was after school anyway. It was after school times.
It was. And Wayne Bonnet. Plus, I found an episode of Rent a Ghost on YouTube. Woo woo. Now that's going back. Now, guys, let's get on with Tottenham. Ange Ball. Ange is back at the weekend. We all can't wait. A bit more on Ange Ball. But to start off with this, Philip and Mia, Tottenham are to host NFL matches into the 29-30 season as deal is extended. Now, this was the comment today. Let me get us back normal. Hang on. Let's see if that works. There we go. It says our partnership with the NFL has been an integral to our wider vision for the stadium and delivering sports and entertainment destination in London. Spurs chairman Danny Levy said, the NFL, which invested $10 million into building of the 62,850 seated ground, pays a rental fee to Tottenham for each game, with the club also profiting from food, drink, and merchandise sales. It is also thought that hosting NFL matches would increase the value of the stadium's naming rights should they ever be sold. Philip, I want to start with you. Naming rights. we heard from the very start, when the stadium was built, naming rights. There's a fella there looking for naming rights. He's been there now for the past 5 years. He's probably sitting in a cupboard somewhere full of cobwebs, just sitting on twiddling his thumbs and getting paid for doing the job. And we've still got no naming rights. But are you happy with this deal with the NFF matches due to another decade?
Oh yeah, I mean anything that brings in extra revenue to the club, yeah, I'm up for that. Plus, I mean, what's the point in having an NFL pitch sitting underneath the soccer pitch or above it, wherever it is, without making use of it? So yeah, I mean, it gives us a wider scope in America and places like that who might not have heard of Tottenham. They'll soon hear about them when they see the stadium on TV over there. So yeah, it's good. It's good. Plus the fact the amount of drink that's sold at those matches is phenomenal compared to what even our guys drink at the Premiership matches. And the what do you call it? I believe the shop is completely devoid of Tottenham material during the NFL games. It's just NFL stuff they sell, and if they're making money on that, fair dues. But yeah, bring it on. I don't mind. I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, Mia, look, a lot of the Levy outers saying NFL, the money goes in Levy's pocket, and that's where it goes. It doesn't go back into the team. But Daniel Levy says the money goes back into the club again. So are you happy with this deal? Are you in the band of people think Tottenham should just be used for Tottenham, for football? End of. No NFL, no boxing, no concerts, no nothing. Just purely football. Where do you stand on that?
Well, the problem we have is that people not really quite understanding how it works. So for us to be able to spend more money, we need to generate more money, right? And these kind of things help with us generating that extra money to go within the club. So for me, it's not a problem because we have to generate money, and also to do with our FFP. I know we're well above the FFP anyway, but obviously it has to be done because they're going to now lower the amount of money you can spend compared to how much you earn. So it is going to change over the years. So yeah, I think that they're doing the right thing because they're trying to compete with like big clubs who have got all this money, Dermot. So they have to find a way. And the NFL income is a way of us generating quite a big, substantial amount. So I've got nothing against it if I'm completely... If we're not using the stadium, why does it really matter?
Yeah, that's true. Look, in my view, it doesn't bother me. I think it's great the stadium's being used, Philip and Mia. I think as long as the money goes into the club, I don't mind what we do. It's the brand, isn't it, Philip, of Tottenham Hotspur? That's what the brand is, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's Tottenham Hotspur PLC. It's not Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. It's Tottenham Hotspur PLC. So if you look at the likes of other owners like the Glazers or Mike Ashley, former owner in Newcastle, does Daniel Levy deserve some credit for making us a bigger brand than, say, the likes of Man United and the Glazers, who have totally broke down the Man United brand, if you know what I mean?
Like, let's face it, we're not as big a brand as Manchester United.
No, I know that, but
that's not going to happen for a while. But yes, whereas the Glazers bleed that club dry every year, right? They can do nothing, hold nothing else but football. Old Trafford is a bit of a mausoleum at the minute. It's kind of needs a whole lot of work done to it. And that's never going to happen until they get new owners. So from that point of view, Man United's crown is slipping a little bit, and Spurs are definitely moving up on the rails to not overtake them, but to get on maybe a level ground with them, because no matter what they say about Levy, right? And no one really knows what happens to the money, but he showed great foresight in bringing in other sports into the stadium. For, as we say, for weeks we're not doing it, it's lying idle. Why not utilize it to make more money? And the same with the concerts and the boxing. Like it was the only place in the world where Beyonce or Lady Gaga, one of the two, had 5 concerts, and those concerts grossed 40 million quid. Right now, I'm sure we got a nice little slice out of that, commission wise or rental wise or whatever. Plus. Sales of food and drink and merchandise. So it is a really good thing that what Levy has done. Now, people say the money's not going back into the club. if you look at the amount of money that we've spent on players, some of it has gone back into the club. Some of it has gone back into the bank account to make sure we don't breach FFP, which is fair enough. We don't want to be in a Chelsea or Newcastle or Man City situation. So I would give Levy credit for that. And I will not give him credit for a lot of things. I would criticize him for a lot of things. But I think on this one, he's got to be given a round of applause for what he's done, because he's done what no other Premiership club has thought of doing yet.
Yeah. Can I also address something? First of all, someone like Man City are actually looking to do the same kind of thing, because they know that it is a very good way of generating money, even though they've got a lot of money because of the FFP side of it. Also, I'm not going to argue like Edwardson. Honestly, I'm not here to argue. This is just a difference of opinion. But how do we know that it doesn't go back in? There's no proof that it hasn't gone back into the team. They don't take dividends. So you're saying that it goes on to yachts and that it doesn't go back into the team. They don't take dividends. Yes, he pays himself a good amount of wages, but it doesn't actually not go into the club, because don't forget, it isn't only players we have to pay for, it's their wages, it's wages of everybody else. Don't forget the cost of food has gone up, the cost of a lot of things have gone up. So the outgoings for running a football club is a big, substantial amount of money, and we need to make sure that we're able to keep that going, right? We need to pay for the electric, we need to pay, don't forget it isn't as simplified as it only goes into the players. Yes, it must go to some of the players, but we have to pay their wages. Who pays their wages? All of the money that we get, right? There's that's what we've got to think of also. So can I just address one more thing?
Yeah, I just want to say, go back to...
Hold on, let me just address the comments as they've aimed at me. We're seeing players in sold in order to bring players in, and we're still going out the cups. Right, we don't go out the cups every season. We was in a final with Jose. We've been in 14 finals and semi-finals, so we do go into those cups with like the thought of not going out of them. We don't purposely, I don't think, go out of them. It's just that managers make mistakes. Players don't turn up. There's loads of different factors to why we go out of these cups, and I don't believe that it's purposeful, because we have been in 14 finals and semi-finals since they've come in. And if it wasn't important, we would have gone out of every single one of them in the first round, and we have not done that. So that's actually a falsity if you look it up.
Right. All I want to do is, where's that comment again before we say hello to the other people? Expensive escorts. No. Seriously, at the end there. I know I'm just saying
that part because it's just.
Oh no, do you know something? I just want to pass the comment. My last visit to the ground at the Shakhtar Donetsk. I was standing around the ground waiting for it to open, right? The amount of staff, apart from inside the stadium, the amount of staff in the shop, the amount of stewards, there's maybe 10 stewards on every entrance. The amount of the wage bill for each match day is really huge. I don't think anybody takes that into consideration. All those people have to be paid. I'm sure they're on a decent enough wage, So the wage bill at Spurs is probably a lot bigger, because given the size of the stadium, than a lot of other Premiership grounds. So this is where the extra income will all come in to help. It certainly doesn't go on flashy yachts. It might not all go into the team, but I'd say some of it is going to pay the steward number 375 for sitting on the south stand, letting you in with scanning your ticket every time you go there.
I would say, guys, a good 90% of it probably goes back into the team. 10% probably goes back in as a spread across the board. But I would say 90% of it goes in. Big up Mia for what you said too, as well. By the way, I do agree with you, and I think.
Yeah, and also they're coming back with in the final, Jose wasn't allowed to lead the team out. I completely concur that. Obviously, he was sacked. That's absolutely, I understand that, but that still doesn't negate the point that we don't get into these finals and semi-finals, right? The fact is that we do take them seriously somewhat, and we don't go out of them every season. That's a falsity. So to use that as a part of an argument when it's not a truth, I have to come back on you on that one, I'm afraid.
Yeah. Just Mr. E and Gary, just keep it civil. I know everyone has has a different opinions, but just keep it civil, guys. I'm gonna say big up to Peter Remy. Says big up McDermott, Mia, and Philip. Hot afternoon here in South London. We've got Gary Becks. Hey guys, how's my favourite three podders? I'm grand.
Good.
Mr. Tom
Yeah.
Jones next to me. We were seeing his latest single, didn't we, Mia? Before, hang on, no, Philip, come on. We saw his latest signal. It was called. It wasn't called Sex Bomb. It was called Bingo Bomb, and it was a brilliant. You see him there. Great video, wasn't it, Mia? I have to say, he worked really hard in that video.
He was really gyrating well for his age.
Was.
Excuse me. Yeah. Why didn't you show the video I sent you earlier of me actually am playing? It actually looks all right.
Can I just say, I've actually, to be fair to you, I've got that we're going to play that out actually, because I want to play that lady out, because she was absolutely a brilliant singer. We've got a treat for you. Philip does a Tuesday night. He plays drums up in a pub. Oh God, 10 knows what we're on about. And there was a woman there last night. Philip sent me a video. And by Jesus, it's the best version of Mustang Sally I have ever heard in my life. I mean, it's a brilliant version. Got the video. We'll have download. So we're going to play out with that. So you can see Mr. Brady.
Thank you, Dermot. I take it all back. I take it all back. And we can reduce the fine to a tenner. Okay.
Yeah, and then afterwards there's a 20-minute monologue of Philip doing green grass at home, Sex Bomb, and every Tom Jones hit there as well as he's swinging these hips. Daniel Lee, Spurs naming rights. LOL. The fact is, they're still not done. It's laughable. I don't know any team who builds the ground and still wait for years later to sell their naming rights. That's so
it is
true.
a bit of a joke. It is a bit of a joke. But then again, there mustn't have been a suitable offer that's come in.
And Joe, what else it
will be accepted.
Joe, what it is as well is because it says the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. So when it's promoted as such, then it means that it's promoted as the actual stadium with the name Tottenham. So it's probably slightly better promotionally wise, if that makes sense. So I was trying to say, but I'm trying to think outside the box on maybe why it hasn't been done, you know?
Yeah, no, it's a good point, Mia, actually. It's a very good point. We've got Peter, I'm happy with the NFL income if it goes into the team. I think we all are. Adrian Lawrence, big up Adrian. He says the club and the team are two separate entities in Levy's mind. And I think that's a very good point, Philip. They are two separate entities in his head. The club is one thing, the team is another. And maybe with Scott Mon coming in now, looking after the football side, maybe Levy will now concentrate more on the club side to generate the money in for Postecoglou to buy more players and make a better team, and for Scott Mon to build an infrastructure for the academy, for Tottenham moving forward on the football side. So, do you know, Laurent Adrian has a good shot there.
Yeah, it's a good point. Do you know what Scott Munn needs to do? The first day he's in, he draws a line on the ground. Daniel, that's your side. That's my side. Don't ever cross it. That's what he needs to do.
Daniel Lee says, when I see net spend Tottenham are spending in the summer, I fail to see how this NFL money is making much of a difference to Tottenham on the pitch.
Well, I see a hell of a difference this season on the pitch. That's everybody else. Hell of a difference.
We've got Greg saying, good afternoon, one and all. I'm happy with the stadium being used to generate other incomes, whether that goes to the footballer side or paying off debt, as that will trickle down. And that's another point. We have a debt to pay back.
Yeah.
So all this extra. Yeah, it is. We've got Gary Beck's new FFP rules means expenditure has to be the club's first. Their aim is no more billionaires pulling millions out of personal wealth funds. Club must make money. Only United can compete with Levy's model. That's a very good point as well. And I'll start with you in that, Philip. You look at Man City, you look at Newcastle, billionaire owners, nation owned by states, Philip. You look at Manchester United and the mess they're in. All right, we're not happy with Levy the way he has been for the last 22 years. We should have been more successful than we are. But I agree with Mia's sort of attitude. A kick here or a kick there. Do you know, a decision here or a decision there. We could have won leagues, Champions Leagues, FA Cups, League Cups. So, do you know, is Levy... I don't believe we're going to ask this question. We'll ask it anyway. Is Levy ahead of his time? Philip? I'll start with you on that.
I'd say Levy is miles behind his time in some ways.
Yeah.
Right. And probably the way some of the decisions he's made, wrong decisions, appointing managers, not paying out for players when he should have done, things like that. But when it comes to the stadium and the marketing of it, he is ahead of his time because, okay, I see Real Madrid have now started doing the pull-out pitch or the second pitch underneath the soccer pitch. How long did it take them? They copied Spurs. Anyone that does anything like that now is copying Spurs because we were the first ones to do it. And for that, Daniel Levy has to take credit. You know? Okay, I'm not defending the guy on a lot of things. I'm not defending him on his meanness at times, his freezing season ticket prices and then putting them up for the ordinary man on the street. That was a kick. That was a bad thing to do. But when it comes to the stadium, yeah, you've got to say he is. He was kind of a beacon. He's lit the light. He's lighting the road for the other teams to follow.
Mia?
Yeah, when it comes to financial side, we've tried to make the club sustainable with all the different things that he puts, obviously the concerts, the NFL. I do think that he is ahead of the times because other teams, like I say, are sort of looking to do more of the same sort of thing. So I think that he is when it comes to probably the making money side and obviously the go-karting track, all of that kind of stuff. But when it comes to with the footballing side, absolutely not. He could do a lot better with that. So, yeah, I think that it kind of works by, like, there's two separate parts to it. And I think for me, at the minute, what Postecoglou's saying, that he is backing him. So let's hope this continues, right?
I've been told off by Wayne Bonnett. Says, now, Dermot, you know better than interrupt the boss when she's in full flow and on a roll.
That's right. Wayne Bonnett knows, and he even calls me the boss because he knows.
Yeah. I have put in the chat, look, please show respect to other members and people in the chat. Everyone does have their own opinions. We see a few things between two that please just show each other respect. It's more one way than the other, I will say, but please just show people respect in the chat. How much, Gail saying it says, how much is that down to ownership group directly, and how much is it down to Ship Fossil Football and the dinosaur manager? Philip, we've had it over the years with Conte, Mourinho, Nuno, the Garden Gnome, you know, and managers before him. We've had a few managers, haven't we? Harry Redknapp, Pochettino, now Ange.
Yeah.
We haven't had many decent managers that have brought us on the eve of being successful. Is that down to bad luck from Levy picking them, or is that down to bad due diligence of looking at the manager and will he fit the Tottenham way, if you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, look at the problems we had after Poch left, right? We had interim managers, Ryan Mason or whatever. Then we put an advert out for a manager. It took, was it 92 days before we got the Garden Gnome came in? Now, at that stage, I think that was a desperation signing. They took him because he was there, available. Wolves had sacked him, or he left Wolves, and he was there. That didn't work out. We then thought, sorry, I should have said Mourinho first, then the Garden Gnome. Mourinho didn't work out for whatever reason. Then the Garden Gnome didn't work out. Then we thought Antonio Conte. We thought he was the savior, the guy that wins something everywhere he goes, right? Only thing is, we all thought Conte was the bee's knees. We now know that it looks to me as if Conte just came in, thought he was doing us a favor, marking time. You know, it's a bit of a challenge. I'll take it on. Didn't work out. Now he's gone. Now we've got a manager, right, who wins everything everywhere he goes. But this time, the players have bought into his philosophy. From what I'm reading about the Spurs at the minute, Ange's team talks are the best any of the players have ever heard. The most inspiring, the most get up and get at them team talk that they've had since they've been at the club. And I think that's perfect for us. So I think whereas Levy may have got made mistakes in the past, he has made mistakes in the past, no doubt about appointing managers. This time, he was brave because not a lot of people thought Postecoglou, when his name was first mentioned, he's only been up at Celtic, so they win everything every year. There's no there's nothing successful about winning the league every season in a crap
Mm.
league. But those people are now either changing their mind or been looking very embarrassed about it all, because we now seem to have a manager that fits the Spurs ethos. Attacking football, playing with a smile on your face on the front foot, no defending 9 men behind the ball crap, hitting on the break. So I think that we've got our guy now, and I say Levy is probably praying that this may be the last manager that he has under his tenantship if they sell the club. And his ideal way to go out of this club would be with a trophy or two. And wouldn't that be a great way to finish off before the new owners come in, if they're going to come?
Yeah. I mean, Mia, look, you can go back to Martin Yole as well and Ramos, who won us the last trophy. But I've said it to people, this Tottenham side reminds me of the Birkinshaw 80s side. It's that I'm getting the same vibes I got off back then and as a young kid, watching the likes of Garth Cook, Steve Archibald, Glenn Hoddle, Steve Barrowman, Graham Roberts, Paul Miller, Tony Galvin, Mickey Hazard.
Mickey Hazard.
And I'm getting some of them vibes of that sort of same thing. Are you getting the vibe, Mia, that Tottenham are on the verge of something magical? That it's not just another hope and pray, something is happening.
Do you know what? I thought that his comments were very interesting, Angie's, because see, when we did win in 2008, we basically we won that cup, and where did we really go with it? Nowhere. We had the shootout with Man United and we lost it, but we didn't really go anywhere with it. And what he said was very interesting, that he was saying he doesn't want to just win a trophy out of desperation. So when we got Conte and when we got Jose, that was desperation, right? That was us being desperate to win something, desperate to get a winning manager in and to get us over the line. But it wasn't going to be for the future, for the sustainability. That wasn't it, because they're short-term managers. But with Postecoglou, he's a long-term manager. He wants us to build something, to have that sustainability of winning stuff, you know? And I feel like that is old school Tottenham vibes, isn't it? Our sustainability of winning something and being a cup, even if we are a cup team, right? It's not a bad thing. We could go on and be European Cup winners and try and win. Say, even if we won the Europa League a couple of years in a row, and then we won another cup another year. Like, that's the sort of thing you can see Ange is aiming for, you know, aiming for that sustainability. And we would all be much happier, surely, to win maybe three trophies in a row, and it takes us longer to get them than to win one in 20 years again or something stupid. You know, I think that's why it's very, very different, and that gives me those different vibes.
Look, I go down to Daniel Lee's point. It says, I weren't alive in the 80s, so I can't tell you about the Birkinshaw vibes that people feel at the time. I can tell you one thing: this squad don't lace the boots of that team in the 80s, mate. I disagree.
That's contradicting himself. He's contradicting himself there by saying that he wasn't alive. He didn't know about the team in the Birkinshaw team, but he knows now this team isn't as good. So it doesn't really make sense, you know.
It's a bit different though, because I feel like the team is a different era. It's different. I wasn't alive in the 80s. I know about it, but I didn't watch them personally with my own eyes, like at the time. So I feel like that we've got to understand that times are different now, Daniel, than what it was in the 80s. You know, like it's a different era, and I don't think it's really comparable, if you like, because it is very different.
Look, what I mean, Philip, I was a kid in the 80s, right? So I remember it through kids' eyes. You were a young adult in the 80s, seeing it through your eyes. So do you get what I mean by the 80s vibe, by the Birkinshaw, how the team spirit was? Because that Tottenham team in the early 80s, they all stuck together, didn't they? It was one for all for one, one for all.
It was.
And we won, as Mia says, we were more of a cup team than we were of a league team, though I think we could have won the league one year, 82, 81, 82, where we reached a League Cup final, a Cup Winners' Cup semi-final, finished third in the league, and we won the FA Cup. Do you get the sense what I'm getting at about the vibes teams? Before we welcome people from other platforms, and also you want to say something about members and super chats and that as well before we get on to that very quickly.
Yeah, I mean, it's a difficult one. This, I mean, having lived through. Okay, we're very. We have how many years to keep Birkinshaw? 1976 to 84, with 8 years of them, right? We've only had 2.5 months of Ange, not even 2.5 months, right? But all I'll say is this: Keith Birkinshaw in his first season, the team was relegated. Now, that was not down to him. That was down to agent Terry Neal from Arsenal, who got us relegated. And we're back to Highbury saying mission accomplished. That was the biggest mistake Spurs ever made, was to appoint that guy as manager. But anyway, Birkinshaw came in, took him a while. He got us back up at the first attempt after being relegated, albeit by the skin of our teeth. But the thing that highlights the Birkinshaw era for me is the acquisition of Ozzy Ardiles and Ricky Villa. That absolutely moved the club onto a different level altogether, because no one else had done that. We had brought in 2 Argentinian World Cup winners a month after they won the World Cup in Argentina. And that really lifted Spurs. Okay, it took us 3 years to win the trophy, but that trophy was always going to come once those 2 guys landed. And Birkinshaw did a great job, and we all know who's to blame for him going, Irvin Scholar, who, how will I put it, diversified the interest of the club and cost us a lot of things. We were no longer a football club, according to Keith Birkinshaw. So what I like about Ange Postecoglou has done what took Keith Birkinshaw 3 or 4 years to do. Ange looks like he's going to do it in rapid, quick time. Maybe not this season, but I guarantee you by next season, Spurs will be a force to be reckoned with. And I still think we might win something this year.
Yeah, I do too. Look, I'm not talking about parting today's team against the 80s team. I was more talking about the togetherness, the team all willing. That's what I'm on about. And I think a few people in the chat have actually got me wrong. I'm not on about the 80s team and today's team. We all know today's team is probably far better than the 80 teams, apart from Glenn Hoddle and Ozzy Ardiles. And you could pick a few players out and probably would fit into today's team. Graham Roberts would, Glenn Hoddle would, Ozzy Ardiles would, Steve Archibald probably would, Garth Crooks probably not, Tony Galvin would down that wing, Chrissy Houghton, that left back would, Paul Miller, maybe. But it's more the togetherness. It's more the team spirit. And that's what I'm getting at. I haven't seen that team spirit like since the 80s. And I that's what I'm getting at. And
you're not beginning to see it now, Dermot, though. You're not beginning to see it now. Sprouts of that coming through in the present team and what we're hearing back from the dressing room.
I do. I that's when I saw it in the 80s, in the early 80s, under Keith Birkinshaw. And a lot of people when Birkinshaw took over, he didn't have a great track record, Philip, as a manager. He was a coach up at Newcastle. He came to us as a coach. He wasn't successful. And as he said, got us relegated. Postecoglou, okay, he's been successful everywhere he's gone, but he hasn't been in major leagues, apart from Celtic, where you have to beat what's in front of you up in Scotland. It's not a given thing that Celtic are going to win the league every year, but they have won it for the last 4 or 5 years in a row. But
50%.
But do you know what you mean? You still got to go out and win those games. And Postecoglou, for me, reminds me of Birkinshaw. And also the style of football as well is similar to what it was in the 80s. But it's more the team values, the team vibes, the team's togetherness, the team's do you know togetherness?
I know what you're coming from. Yeah, I know what you're coming from. Yeah.
And I think a lot of people have got me wrong. I'm not saying the 80 team is better than today's team. It's more all the rest of it that goes. Just say we've got, and Gary Beggs' Angie interview on Talk Sports said everything about the whole club from top to bottom. It's been backed up to the culture change report on The Athletic. Mia, very quickly, and then I go to you, Philip. The culture of Tottenham had to change, didn't it, Mia? It was rotten to the core. It was rotten. Do you think Angie's come in and really changed everything so very quickly, as Philip said?
Yeah, I do, because I think that he made sure that he put everything down on a plate. Like he said he is very unrelenting about certain things that he will not tolerate, like he's not going to play any other type of football. I think he laid his cards down on the table and said certain players, they're not going to get away with stuff like they would have maybe beforehand. And just come in, change the leadership group. So he's changed a lot of stuff in a very short amount of time, right? He has really tried to mix things up to change it. And so far, it seems to be working, right? He seems to have changed a lot, because I think there was a lot of control maybe by certain players in the team. He's brought a more togetherness about everybody. It really feels much more like a team now than what it has ever done. Even under Poch, I felt it was different, where I feel that he is actually a perfect mix in a way of Poch and a bit of a Harry Redknapp. He's like a combination of them both, and maybe a bit of Martin Yole. Like, he's got that personality. He's got a very good personality, a very good way of coming across, and good man management as well. But you can see he's not too matey with the players. He keeps his distance. But I think Poch was maybe a bit too matey with some of them. And I love the way he's so straight talking. He tells you how it is. So I think that combination has just worked so well within the club.
Say big up to Wilton McDonald. Good afternoon, all. I am joining late as usual. Big up, Wilton. We've got Wembley one. He says, Philip, the seeds for our relegation were sown long before Terry Neal took over as manager. In fact, Terry kept us up both in 75, where we escaped in the final game, and 76. Then 76, we ended mid-table. Just very quickly on that, Philip, do you think the seeds for relegation were sown at the end of the Bill Nick era?
Well, yeah, they were. They were. But like, I mean, to bring an ex-Arsenal player like Terry Neal in was just incredible. Well, Bill Nicholson went to the board and said he wanted Danny Blanchflower to succeed him, assisted by Johnny Giles. The board got the hump that Bill Nicholson had the temerity to approach these guys before running it by them. They more or less sacked Bill Nicholson and went in the point Terry Neal. So while Terry Neal may have kept us up, I'm sure that was more by accident than design. He actually was a ruination. He should never have been at the club. It should have been if Danny Blanchflower and Johnny Giles had been allowed to take over in 74, we wouldn't have been relegated. Simple as that.
No. Yeah. And then Gary Beck says, Ange is Birkinshaw more than, say, Venables, that he's approachable, but not the player's best mate. There was a line of, do you want to read that one out, Philip? Sorry.
Ange is Birkinshaw more than, say, Venables, in that he's approachable, but not the player's best mate. There are lines of hierarchy under Ange that I feel Poch never plays, ultimately hurt him. Yeah, very good point, Gary. I think there's lines of there's certain lines with Ange you don't cross. I think that's probably the best way of putting it. Palsy Wells, he'll not be going drinking with them after a match, that's for certain. No. But he'll be their best mate. He'll be, and he'll have their back in any circumstance that arise. But don't get too close.
But that's what I was saying. He's not quite like Poch, because I always felt Poch was a bit too matey with the players. You know, I felt like he was a bit overly friendly with them. Where I think with Postecoglou, he keeps his distance, but he's just enough. No, like a teacher who is just got that really good balance with children, where they know not to cross that line, but they're friendly enough that the kids enjoy themselves, enjoy learning, and that's what the players are doing. They're enjoying playing their football. They're enjoying the way he talks and the way he is. But they know they do not cross that line. They don't cross it, because he'll just give them that look. No, like the mum stare or the dad stare. You just stare at your kids when you know they've done something wrong. You don't even say nothing. You just stare at them. So I feel like Ange has got that perfect mix.
And Ange has also been nominated for an elite award alongside Pep and Man City as well. The former Australian manager has been shortlisted for a prestigious award alongside Manchester City's Pep, Napoli's Spalletti, Inter Milan's Simone, and Barcelona Xavi. Not bad, is it, Philip and Mia, to be in that sort of company?
After 2 months in the job, it's very good.
Now, this is for what he done at Celtic and Tottenham. So this is for his time at Celtic and Tottenham. Guys, what else? The 25-man squad was announced yesterday. Here it is in full. This is it. The homegrown list. We've got Bentancur Bissouma, the man who should not be named, Emerson Royale, Brian Hill, Højbjerg, Kulu, another one that needs to leave, Lo Celso, Perisic, Porro, Richarlison. Big up to Richarlison, by the way. And listen, we hope him a speedy recovery for what he's going through. And fair play to him, guys, very quickly for coming out and saying what he said, that he needed help. And look, we hope he gets back to his own. his own thing for. And very quickly, this is what he said in an interview. That sad moment wasn't even because I played poorly, in my opinion. I didn't play a bad game in Burnley, said Bellum. Said Richarlison, speaking after a 1-0 win in Peru on Tuesday, another game where he started and came off without scoring. He did score a goal, but it was chalked off for VAR. 7 minutes. Was it 7 minutes, Philip?
It took. 7 minutes it took to decide it was no goal.
Yeah. Coming down scoring. It's more of an outburst about the things that were happening off the field which got out of control, not my part, but on the part of people who were close to me. I'm going to go back to England, seek a psychologist, help from a psychologist to work on my mind. I went through a turbulent time in the last 5 months off the field. People only had an eye on my money, walked away from me. Now things are right at home. Now things will start to flow. I'm sure I'll get a good run at Tottenham and make things happen again. I'll come back stronger. Philip, I can't say nothing but fair play to him. Well done.
Applaud him for that. The honesty
so
in that is absolutely stunning. I'll tell you one thing. I see shades of, if Dele Alli had come out with a similar statement a couple of years ago, he may not be in the position he's in now.
Yeah.
Richarlison was obviously being used by people he thought were close to him, and it's now come to a head, and he's got rid of them, and now the future will be bright for him once he gets his head sorted out. And fair dues to him. I'm nothing but admiration for him for that.
Mia?
Yeah, I spoke about this yesterday on my video, so if you haven't gone and watched it, please go and watch it. And I basically said that it's really easy, right, to have people around you who aren't the right kind of people when you're not in a good state of mind. And a lot of times, like, that's what happens. See, like Dele Alli, he wasn't in a great state of mind. He got amongst the wrong kind of people who don't want what's best for you. And it's easy to do that, or to trust people because you think they've been around a long time, I can trust them. And so obviously he got himself into a situation and it's really affected him. So I want him to get the help. I want him to turn it around. Nothing will make me happier than for him to turn it around. I've always said that about Richie. I've never really been that. I've been saying, yes, he needs to score goals. And obviously that's part of his game. That's what he's supposed to do. But I've always said that it looks like something's heavy on his head. And it looks like his body language wasn't very good. And I've always said it was something else. I was always a bit kind of like, what's going on with him? So for me, I'm glad that he's come out and spoken about it. And I want everything to go good for him, man. Like, I really, really do.
Yeah, Mr. E says L-Tail ditched a few players like Ozzy Ardiles, Gary Stevens and others. I'm sure they found him very approachable. He also said, Gary says, if we followed the Venables visions, we would have gone out of business. Dude wanted to fund his nightclub with Spurs money. That is true. That, you know, there's no getting away from it, is there, guys? That he was part of the reason why we went. Though he did save us, but he was part of the fun why we went. Look, I know, Mia, you're going on. Oh, okay. Yeah. Just put it in the private chat what it is, me, and then I'll know. Very quickly, guys. Philip, we are now broadcasting, of course, on Facebook, Twitch, and our new Twitter page. We're also jointly broadcasted on the Full-Time Sports Network. So everyone, please, if you want to follow us there, you can follow us on Facebook, on Twitch as well, and on Twitter. And also on the Full-Time Sports Network. Please get over and like and subscribe over there as well as here. Philip, memberships and super chats. We're on a big drive for members, aren't we? So we really want to start getting more members in because we've got a lot of member shows coming up. And once we get to a certain finger, we will be doing member-only videos and member-only shows and things like this. So tell people how to become a member.
Well, go over to the community section in the site here, and you'll see all the 3 different levels of membership. Typically, I haven't written them down here, but you have to remind me of the names of. It's that long since we've been on. I've forgotten the names of the
they're there anyway, but
they're in the community section. Yeah, sorry, $2.99, $4.99, and you varying levels of activity allowed for those things. But it's cheaper than the term, like you say, Netflix. And it allows you'll get your premium access to, and we're going to have one that's a watch along, whereas you can come and join me, Dermot and myself on a watch along to a game, which should be a bit of fun, to a Spurs match on a Saturday or a Sunday. So get over there. And also super chats. The chat has been very heavy today, very, very busy. It's great to see it. So, but if you want to jump the queue, put in a super chat for whatever amount from £2 upwards, and you get your comments read out, priority read, and it's a good way of getting your comments out quickly rather than to wait in the line for the rest of them to be read out. So get over and do that, and that helps the channel so much, because you will see in the next few weeks that we are investing in new backgrounds, new technology, and whatever, and everything we get goes back into the channel.
Yeah, it does. It does. So please get your memberships. Just hit the join button. There's 3 different memberships. And look, we'll see it there. We've got Gary Back's panel. How about Mecca possibly joining in January to place Højbjerg? I think that'd be a good move for Tottenham myself. He's a good player. I'm going to do my research on him, so I'll have him more for the podcast. But guys, we are going to finish up here because Mia is going live now at 5, so we want to be off before her. Just very quickly, Wilton McDonald. I don't know what it's about Ange, but I feel he will deliver a trophy or more in his tenure. Exactly, that's how we all feel. There is the link. Mia, give your channel quite plug there if you want, because you're going on in a few minutes.
Yes, if you didn't mind, you can come over and come and join me for my preview for the Sheffield game. So I'm just about to do that. I've done quite a lot of videos after the last few days. I've done one on Richarlison. I actually covered exactly what Ange said. I recorded it and played it back and gave commentary on it. And I've also done the squad. So if you haven't watched any of those videos, please do so. I've also done a 3-part series on the defence, the midfield, and the attack with my brother, Ashmatic, and with Jack from Irish Hotspur. So if you haven't seen any of those, that's more content to consume before we are back playing football. So yeah, if you haven't watched those, please can you go and do that? And if you haven't subscribed, of course, please go and subscribe. I'm one away from 1,060, so I just need one of you to subscribe.
Yeah, so everyone, please get over and do that. Philip, we're back to normal now. We're back tomorrow at 4, aren't we, with Newsbeat, and then we're on tomorrow night with our Cockle Clock podcast. And then what we've got coming up the weekend? We've got a busy weekend this weekend, haven't we?
I was doing a watch along with the Spurs, well, a round the ground stroke watch along. If we can get a live feed to the Spurs match on Saturday. And then Saturday night, we're doing a watch along with the Irish versus Samoa Rugby World Cup match.
Tonga.
So it's going to be busy. Tonga. You might get Samoa.
Tonga.
You're mixing them
Why
two up.
Why did you think Samoa?
Because Tonga, Samoa, they're around the same area, Okay. Don't be nitpicking.
And then on Sunday, we are doing the Formula One on our Formula One channel. So that kicks off as well. So please join us for that as well. Mia, thank you very much. You're joining us, I think, for the podcast tomorrow night, you and Mr. Harris. So we're going to have a full house on the Cockle Clock podcast. Me and Philip are back tomorrow at 4 with Newsbeat. And we'll probably be on a bit longer tomorrow to get more views out as I build up for the Sheffield United game. But whatever you do, please hit that like button. Please hit that subscription button. You can follow us now on Facebook, on Twitter, as well as Twitch. You can also follow us across on the Full-Time Sports Network, where you can find other stuff as well. All shows will be jointly put over to there as our partnership grows. And also, we have got a new sponsor for our podcast starting next Friday as well. More to come on that. So, but please like and subscribe as we on the way to 2,002K. Thank you all for watching. Get over to Mia's channel now. Mia's going to disappear. But on the way out, Philip, as we all know, plays drums on the Tuesday night up at Darky Kelly's. I'll let you introduce us, Philip, because you sort of like, bye-bye, Mia. We'll be off by 5, don't worry.
Yeah, this we would play a jam session on a Tuesday night. It's a songwriter night, but at the end of the night, we get all the songwriters up on stage and we do, various rock songs and country songs and whatever. This particular girl is a girl called Clara Rose Monaghan. She is one of the top blues singers in Ireland. She has her own big 8-piece band, and she comes up to us every couple of months to have a play. Well, she did a version of Mustang Sally the other night that we got some of it. It's not a complete video, it's some of the song, but you'll just listen to this voice and say you're not impressed. It's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, and here she is. What's her name again?
Clara Rose Monaghan.
There we go.
was 1975. Both come around, signify they want me. Oh, but you never let me ride the things that I really want. So let my things down. There you've been rolling all over town, yeah. Somebody better put your flat feet on the ground. Are you ready to sing it? Here we go. All you wanna do is ride around, Sally, ride, Sally, ride. All you wanna do is ride around, Sally, ride, Sally, ride. All you wanna do is ride around, Sally, ride, Sally, ride. All you wanna do is ride around, Sally, ride, Sally, ride. Yeah, you've been running all over town. Somebody better put your flat feet on the ground. Take it away on the guitar.
Philip. Yeah, me and Philip both had to look sort of like this at one point. Courtesy of Mrs. Brady for taking that as well. You're on mute again, Philip. You've muted yourself. That's it. You're
No.
unmuted now.
No.
Yeah, you were.
Yeah.
I just want to say also, before we go, Philip, big up to GJ Samuel, members for 4 months, and
Very
he's
good.
got 2 clicking bids. Big up, DJ Samuel. Really appreciate your support, man. Gary said that was good. He says she's decent. I'm a Rock Gem fan, so look, I maybe Philip might have a word for doing an intro for us for our channel. If Philip gets talking to her. There you go.
Yeah, I don't know. It might be a while for us here again because she's not there every week, obviously. But yeah,
Yeah.
she's we'll do.
If
Yeah,
you can
she's
find the MP3 version of that without the video, but if we could take the music, we could use that as an intro. That'd be
Yeah,
great. I'd love to do
yeah,
that.
I'm trying to do something on that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But big up to GJ Samuel for becoming look, Mr. EE, look, enough is enough, mate. Okay, leave Gary alone. All right, you've been at it all show. You show respect. Gary shows respect to you. Please show respect to him. We're not a kindergarten. We're not 4 years old. So behave yourself. Yeah, enjoy yourself, whatever you do. Enjoy the rest of your day. Me and Philip, of course, are back tomorrow at 4 with Newsbeat and the build up to Sheffield United again with a load of stuff. And yeah, thank you a lot, Philip. And whatever you do, big up, Ange.
Come
in the
on, you
mighty
Spurs.
Spurs we trust.